Hey everybody, I've never done one of these video journals before, so excuse me if I seem a little awkward. It's kind of weird being in a room alone and talking to a camera. There's no one in here, so I feel like I'm talking to myself. And I figure if anybody's walking by the door of this hotel room, they're going to hear somebody in here talking to themselves, and they're probably going to get a little worried. So, excuse me, but this is a bit awkward. I feel like it needs to be done though. I just feel compelled to do it, so I'm going to do it. A lot of people ask me about the songwriting process for me. They ask me stuff like, what comes first, the lyrics or the music? They ask me about what inspires me. Normally, I tell people that the process is therapeutic. It's what I do to deal with things. I figured I can express that now because I just wrote a new song, so I can let people into the process a little bit, so you can see what I mean when I say songwriting is how I deal with things. I need to give you some background info though, so you can understand where I'm coming from, because it's all relevant. If you're bored by this, then just push stop, because you don't have to watch it. I'm sure you got other things you can do. If you're interested in songwriting, in particular if you're interested in my songs, then give it a few minutes and hopefully you'll find it interesting. Wow. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas tonight. It's August 1st and I just finished writing a song called Flyin High. I'll play it for you in a few minutes, but first I'm going to give you the story leading up to it. I was on vacation last week, and the week before last. I went to Alaska with my wife and 2 kids, and it was the best vacation I've ever had. To have 10 days just uninterrupted with my wife and kids was amazing. It helped me clear my head. We saw beautiful scenery. It was just a great time. All of us had a great time. And then we flew back home last Tuesday, and my youngest son got sick, and that got us worried. You know, as a parent, when your kid gets sick, that's the worst thing that can happen. Unfortunately, I had to fly out on Wednesday, even though my kid was sick, but I had to get back to work. So I flew out of Atlanta Wednesday night, and I was pretty bummed out. Even though my kid's fine now, and it was fine, he's fine. But at the time, I was a little worried. I hated to leave, not to mention we were at the end of a vacation, and this is a 2-week run. So it was going to be 2 weeks before I was going to see him. So I was bummed out. I got to the airport, and I got bumped up to first class, which never happens. Trust me, that never happens. You see it on movies, you hear about it happening, but it never happens, except this one time. It's the first time I ever got bumped up to first class. And I had a great seat. I'm on the front of the plane, very front row, right next to the window. The stewardess brings me a cocktail, and I'm sitting there thinking, all right, this is cool. But I was still bummed out. 2 cocktails wouldn't help me. 3 cocktails wouldn't help me. A beautiful view out the window wouldn't have helped me. I was just feeling bummed out. So I'm flying to Kansas City, and I want to write a song because that's how I deal with things. But I didn't want to write a sad song at that time. I wanted to write something to make me feel better and cheer me up. So I wrote this sort of bluesy, upbeat thing that I played in Kansas City the next night at the show. It's called Kansas City, Here I Come. And it's kind of based on an older blues song, but I'll play you a stanza of it so you can kind of figure out where I was going. It was like this. It was like, Kansas City, here I come. Roll out your welcome mat and wave. I left my blues back in GA. I'm here to work, but I'm here to play. And then I wrote a couple of stanzas, and I wrote a chorus and played it on the radio station in Kansas City. That's not the song I'm here to tell you about, but it's relevant. That song was me sad, trying to make myself feel better by playing something about leaving my blues back home. That wasn't the reality. The song I wrote today, however, was about me being sad away from home. And I'll explain to you how I got to that point. See, I left Kansas City, then I went to Des Moines, and then went to Denver. And we had a great show in Denver. Had great shows in Kansas City and Des Moines, but we had a great show in Denver. after the show, I was riding this mechanical bull, and I messed my hand up like a dummy. I shouldn't have been riding a mechanical bull. Anybody that knows me knows I shouldn't be riding a mechanical bull, but I did, and I kind of messed my hand up. No worries, my hand's fine. But we left Denver with my messed up hand, and we came to Fort Worth, because Fort Worth is in between Denver and Corpus Christi, and it's a cool place to hang out. I'd never hung out in the stockyards here in Fort Worth before, so we got here yesterday afternoon, or yesterday evening. Went out to dinner, came back came back to the hotel, and I was pretty bummed out, sad again, and this line hit me. This line was it was this: I'm flying high, but I'm feeling low. That was it. Of course, the line made me think about my plane ride to Kansas City, where I was literally high in the air, but I was feeling low. I had a drink in my hand, and I was feeling low. I was in first class, but I was feeling low. So I recorded the idea into my iPhone, and I figured I would shelve it. Most of the time, when I put an idea down, it doesn't come back up for months later. Very seldom do I actually follow through on the idea, on the same day or the day after. But today, it was a full day off. It was like 110 degrees outside, and I didn't want to go walking around in 110 degree weather. Plus, my hand was hurt, and I didn't want to get my hand x-rayed. I was kind of worried about it. So I called my doctor. My doctor said I needed to alternate hot and cold on my hand. So I was in the room all day with an ice pack for 15 minutes, and then a warm compress for 15 minutes, and an ice pack for 15 minutes, and a warm compress for 15 minutes. And it gave me some time to think. Plus, the process of doing that kind of got my wheels spinning, because I would have the ice pack on, and my hand would be cold, but it would be so cold that my hand would get hot. And then I would get the warm compress and put that on my hand, and it was almost like it made my hand feel cold again. Just the repetition of hot and cold got me thinking about opposites, and how sometimes things that seem illogical are actually true, and it has to do with the difference between what we think and what we feel. And not coincidentally, this morning when I was doing my journal writing, which I do whenever I can, I wrote about that very issue, the issue of complementary forces. When I journal write, I sit behind a computer or in my handwritten journal, and I just write whatever comes in my head, and I go through a lot of different issues and a lot of different topics. But this morning I wrote extensively about how things that on the surface seem illogical can actually be true. For instance, how one can be flying, but at the same time they can be low, or one can actually be cold, but at the same time feel hot. So when I eventually decided I was going to commit to writing this song, these were the issues that were going on in my head. Keep in mind also, when I woke up this morning, I knew I had a day off, and I knew I'd been on vacation, and I had a desire to really do something productive with my day. I told myself, I'm going to do something meaningful today. I'm going to have to. And so I kept that motivation there all day. And this afternoon, a few more lines came into my head, and the melody developed, and I went after this song. Now, musically, it's a country western song, and of course I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. One of my favorite albums is Ray Charles' Modern Sounds in Country Music, and there's a song on there called Worried Mind. And when I was going through developing the melody of this song, it reminded me of that song a lot. I was like, oh man, this sounds familiar, what could this be? And I went through my iTunes library, and I was listening to that Ray Charles album, and I was like, oh, this is the one. It's just kind of came back out. So I'm going to play the song for you. I hope you like it, and I hope a lot of the stuff I've been rambling about makes sense when you hear the song. I'm going to push the space bar on my computer so I can see the lyrics, because I can't remember them right now. I'm flying high, but I'm feeling low. I'm in my prime, but I'm feeling old. I'm on my way. I'm flying high, but I'm feeling low. I'm in my prime, but I'm feeling old. I'm on my way, but I'm far behind. Oh, life's been good, but it ain't been kind. If you believe the heart won't lie, you're bound to love and you're bound to cry. The truth be told, we can't go back. We don't know freedom until we fall off track. We're on our way, but we're far behind. Yes, life's been good, but it ain't been kind. Carry me home, there's no time to spare. The ones I love most are waiting on me there. So I'm flying high, but I'm feeling low. I'm in my prime, but I'm feeling old. I'm on my way, but I'm far behind. Oh, life's been good, but it ain't been kind. Oh, life's been good, but it ain't been kind. Sounds like Fort Worth. So there's a song. I feel better. I don't feel as sad. I feel relieved. Now comes the hard part. What to do with it. You know, I could take it to a studio. I could record it with a full band. I could play it at the live shows, or I could make a video journal and share it with you this way. So for the time being, this is what I'm going to do with it. This process is how I've always written songs, or at least for the past 10 years. This is how I've written songs. It's a part of who I am. It's a part of me making sense out of the world. It's a part of me being healthy and trying to be happy. It really bothers me when I hear people tell me that I've sold out, or that the success has gotten to me, or something. It's just it's ludicrous. I still write the same way I've always written. I don't co-write. A lot of my friends co-write. And that's cool, because, you know, to each his own. We all go about this thing differently. For me, the process is so personal. I can't really share it with people. This is the closest I've come to sharing it with anybody. So I hope you can appreciate what I'm trying to do. I hope you can appreciate the video here. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope you learned a thing or two. But thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to playing this song for you one day. Take care.